Are you wondering how you can maintain mental toughness in this real estate business that you're in? Hi, my name is Neil Mathweg. I am the host of the Onion Juice podcast. It's a show that's made just for realtors. And somebody reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to put together a video that would help you with just that question. How do you make it? How do you stay mentally tough to make it in the real estate business? So this video is about that. I'm going to give you some kind of broad stroke things that has worked really well for me and my business. And I've struggled with this. And so through those struggles, I've learned a lot, and I love to share that. And so I'm going to give you kind of a broad stroke of that in this video. But I also want you to dive into the Onion Juice podcast, and I have some episodes that will really go well with this video, and I put them all together in an email, and all you got to do is just text the word strength to 44222, and then I'll reply with the links to those episodes and also some other goodies, some other things that will help you in your business to build up that confidence and build up what we're going to talk about in this video. And so I just text the word strength to 44222, and then I'll reply with the links and everything that we talk about here. So let me give you a little background on who I am and some of the experiences that I had. I've been selling for 14 years now, and I would sell anywhere between 70 and 100 homes a year. And it was leading up to the recession. I had this mentality where it was all about me, and I was running like crazy, and I was working on building my kingdom, and I was trying to make as much money as I could, and I was trying as hard as I could, and I was working as many hours as I could, and I was leaving my family in the dust, and I didn't have good boundaries. I was just on an all-out work mode. All that came to an end in the recession, and I hit rock bottom. And my wife and I, we lost $264,000 in the recession. And I remember that number because we agreed to pay it back. And so my wife and I, we held on to each other. We grew closer together, and it really solidified our marriage. And this $264,000 was not a loss. It was an investment. And we had it on our spreadsheet, on our budget, that it was a student loan, is what we called it, because we learned so much from losing that much money and fighting to pay it all back. And so a lot of my experiences that I'm going to share with you today really come from the hard knocks that we learned during the recession. And so let me dive into some of these. The thing that I see the most out of agents, there's a percentage out there. What is it? 87% of agents don't make it in this business. That number is just crazy to me. And really, the reason I believe that most agents don't make it in this business is because they lack confidence. And you can build up confidence in so many different ways. And one of the things that I talk about it was in episode number 27, is that a lot of agents don't do what they're good at. They do what they are told to do, and they just go out and do them. And I think in order to build up your confidence, you need to do what you're good at and what you enjoy, and then build upon on that. So double down on what you're good at, and then the rest of the business will come. I think you should also remember that your efforts are going to outweigh your results in the beginning. So you're going to be putting all of this energy in and all of this to get this business off the ground. And it's such a hard thing to get going, and you're not going to get a lot of results, and you're going to lose confidence. So just remember that your efforts are going to outweigh your results. And there's going to be a tipping point. There's going to be a time in your career where that's going to change, and the results are going to come so easy, and the effort's really not going to be there. So just know in the beginning, your efforts are going to to outweigh your results, and then there's going to be a tipping point where it just becomes easier. I use the analogy of pushing a rock down a hill, a big boulder. The first time you go to try to push that rock, it doesn't even move. It doesn't even budge. And then you get it to sway a little bit. Then you get it to move. And then eventually that rock starts to move and it starts to roll. And then once it starts going down the hill, you can't even slow it down. I mean, that baby's just going. And that's exactly the way the real estate business is. Your results, that effort that you're going to push into that rock in the beginning is just not going to budge, but eventually it's going to start to go. So just remember that your efforts are going to outweigh your results. Also remember that every part of your business, there's going to be resistance. And I like to use the analogy of, let's say, a high school football player. He's a starter on his team. He's on the varsity team. He becomes all conference and then all state. And he just breaks through, and he's just this amazing star. And he has all of these colleges that want him to come, these D1 schools that want him to come. And he's got scholarship offers, and he's deciding on what school he's going to. He's going to leave high school an All-American or an All-State player. I mean, just awesome player. And he's going to get to college with his scholarship, and he's going to be a nobody, right? He may not even make the starting team, right? He's gonna start out slow, and he's gonna have to fight through resistance, and then eventually maybe he's gonna break through as a college player, and then he becomes the Heisman Trophy winner. He's gone all the way to the elite of Heisman Trophy, and now he's entering the NFL draft, and he gets into the NFL, and he's a nobody. Right? How many times have you seen a Heisman Trophy winner make it to the Hall of Fame? It doesn't happen much. So even though that you're the best in college, you can get to the pros and you're nobody. So remember that as you're growing, your every step of this business, you're going to have resistance. From getting your license to selling your first house is that first level of breakthrough of resistance. And then how am I going to put a deal together every month? And then how am I going to put 2 deals together every month? And then I've got some agents that I coach that are trying to figure out how to do 15 or 20 deals every month, right? So every level there's resistance, and you have to continue to recognize the resistance and then fight through it. You also want to, if you're in your career and you're struggling and you think, maybe you're a year in and you think, I'm not doing anything. I'm not good at this business. I can't, how am I going to get to the next level? I'm just scraping the bottom here. I haven't grown at all in the last year. My recommendation to you is to go serve somebody that's newer than you. Go serve the brand new agent that came in. You will see how much you've grown. I learned this in the recession when my wife and I felt like we were rock bottom. I went and served at a food pantry, and I came home and I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? I really don't have it that bad. I just served some people that are waiting in line for food. I have a refrigerator full. I feel like I hit rock bottom because I went from this amazing house down to this half duplex, right? And so I felt like I was at rock bottom, and I felt like a failure. And then I went and served, and I realized how blessed I truly am. And so that's what I recommend for newer agents. And I also want to give this note to brokers that have mentorship programs. Don't have your top producing agents mentor the brand new agent. Have the agent that's been in a business for a year or two, because you're going to give a large ego boost to that agent that's a year or two into the business that doesn't feel like they're growing at all. Your top producer doesn't need an ego boost. The agent that's been in the business for a year or two does. And also they're going to give the mentee a lot more attention when you've been in the business for 1 or 2 years than if you're a top producing agent. So I don't want to go off on that rant, but I just want to help the agent that has been in the business for a year or two realize really how much you've grown. Another thing too is a lot of agents struggle with entitlement. And what happens here is your best friend or your neighbor, or in my case, I talk about my best man, listed his house with another agent. And it hurts, right? This really hurts. but we have to remember that we're not entitled to their business. We may have a great relationship with them, and we may feel like the love, like they should be listing with us, but they don't, and then it just crushes us. And we feel like a failure. We feel like they don't like us, or that how could they not list with me? I must not have a good reputation, or I must just not be good at this. And man, I can't believe that they didn't list with me. What you have to remember is that you're not entitled to everybody's business. And as much as you tell yourself this, you're still going to struggle with it when it happens. It always hurts. But the one thing that I've learned is that it never has to do with me. They decided to list with the other agent for other reasons other than me. My best friend, my best man in my wedding, listed his condo with another agent. I saw it on the MLS. I showed it. I couldn't believe that he did this to me. I went a whole month with this pain of seeing that he listed his condo with somebody else. Later, a month later, I ran into him, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I've been meaning to call you." He goes, "I'm so sorry. The reason that we listed the condo with this other agent is because we're building with them, and they decided to list, they said they would list the condo for free and charge us nothing." And of course that makes sense. Of course I would have done the same exact thing. I just wish he would have called me. But you see what I'm saying? It had nothing to do with me. He loves me. He's my friend. It's too bad that he didn't call me. I wouldn't have had that pain. But what I learned right then and there, and I've had this happen a few times in my career, is that I'm not entitled to their business. So remember that, so that doesn't hurt you. Another thing too that we fall into the trap of is called people pleasing, or the disease to please. And what this is you are such a giver, and you work so hard to create these relationships, and that's good for building relationships and building your business. But then if they get upset with you, or you make a mistake, you get fear that you're going to make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, you own it, and you have such a hard time getting over that. And that is called the disease to please. There's a great book out there called Disease to Please. It's old. There's some weird parts of the book that I thought were kind of off the wall and kind of weird, but it's a great book. And if you have anxiety and you have stress, a lot of it comes from the disease to please. And also in this book, it talks about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a huge piece to all of this, because forgiveness isn't for the person that's maybe wronged you or that's upset with you. Forgiveness is for you. And so learning forgiveness has been a huge part. I've been wronged by people, and I had a lot of anger towards them. And then that brought on anxiety and brought on fear. And I learned that as soon as I could forgive them, I could move past that. So read the book Disease to Please, and practice forgiveness. It really will help you. Perfection. Perfection is another one I want to talk about, because we often will struggle with trying anything or putting out anything because it's not perfect. Or we don't want to pick up the phone and talk to somebody because we don't feel like we have the perfect script. I want you to wipe that out. Don't worry about perfection. Go make mistakes. Go fumble your way through a script. Don't worry about saying the perfect thing. Don't worry about having the perfect ad or the perfect video. Just put your art out there and be vulnerable, and be okay with putting out where you're at right now, and don't worry about perfecting it. I see too many agents perfecting things before they put them out, when they just need to get them out and move on. All right, so don't fall into that trap of perfection. I also want to talk about boundaries. You need to set clear boundaries. I used to have no boundaries whatsoever. And then in 2008, when everything came crashing down, I started putting boundaries around my life, because I realized the ruin that I was causing my family. And so I put boundaries that I would have every Sunday off. And and what I would do is I would set this boundary in the first conversation that I had with a client. And I would say that I take Sundays off for church and family, and I just want to make sure that that's not a problem. And in all of those years, from 2008 until today, I've had one person say that I'm sorry, I got to look at houses on Sunday. That's the only day that I have off. I have to look at houses on Sunday. And I just said, that's fine. I'm not your agent then. And I had to let him go, and I referred him on to another agent. But the thing with boundaries is most people think that boundaries is going to prevent you from doing more business, or it's going to hurt you. But what actually happens is the opposite. My clients started respecting that I had boundaries, and that respect helped better our relationship. And that relationship that grew from respect brought on more referrals. They were more apt to refer me because they respected me. And my clients didn't walk all over me. They knew that I had a family. They knew what my values were. And that was easy for them to refer me to their friends. So boundaries doesn't hurt you. Boundaries help you, and it helps grow your business. It's an episode that I went pretty deep on, and so again, if you just text the word strength to 44222, I'll get you a copy of that episode that I talk about boundaries. I want to wrap this up with talking about being mindful, and we had a great episode where we had Tamara Doris on, and Tamara talks about being mindful. And the way I looked at it was like a teeter-totter. It's let me give a little more context. I'm sorry. So being mindful is being in the now, not focused on what's happening in the future, or have fear of what's in the future, or have regrets of what's in the past, or sadness from the past. It's not holding on to either one of those, not holding on to the past, or not being worried about the future, but being in the now. And it's very hard to do. Our human nature, and Tamara can give you the science behind this, but our human nature is to either be focusing on the past or be focusing on the future, but to be in the now is very hard, and being mindful is very hard. And when I was interviewing Tamara, I had this vision of a teeter-totter. When you walk up to a playground, you see the teeter-totter either tilt to the left or tilt to the right. You never see it balanced, right? And that's the way we are as human. We're either thinking about the past or we're thinking about the future. And so try to balance that teeter-totter, and think about how hard that teeter-totter has. It just can't do it. It goes one way or the other unless there's a person there helping it out. And so it's the tools that Tamara offers that I find really valuable to stay mindful. And I think all of this will reduce your stress, reduce your anxiety. And we also talk about on that episode that anxiety really just comes from fear. And so if you struggle with anxiety, you're struggling with fear. And so yeah, it's a great episode. I'm excited for you to hear that. My door is open for you. If you have any questions about this or want to go deeper, just send me an email. You'll get my email address after you send the word strength to 44222. Just reply to me with any questions that you have. I want to be here for you as a resource to help you with your business and help you have the confidence to keep going and build the business that you're dreaming of building. And again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I hope I didn't go too long here. And I end every video this way, that I hope that you have a great day. And like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.